Hi. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what data sets are used for quant model research. There are various kinds of data sets used. Some of the data sets are publicly available, some of the data sets are proprietary in nature. So I'm going to talk about the different kinds of data used in quant research, quant trading, risk model development, and other areas of quantitative finance. And if you are a student of quantitative finance, what are the sources that you can use to collect data and to do some projects and showcase that on your CV? Not all data sets are available publicly, so you cannot have access to some of the proprietary data sets used in banks and insurance companies and trading firms. You will never get access to those data sets, so don't even try, because banking, the business of banking, business of trading is very very secretive in nature, so you will never get access to the data used internally within banks and trading firms, or quant research firms, or any of these regulated firms. So let me first tell you actually what are the data sets that you can easily use to build your research project. If you're just learning on your own, you have access to the the stock data, the option price data publicly, right? You go to any exchange, you can get the data, right? You go to Google Finance, Yahoo Finance, you can get a lot of finance data, right? That's good enough to even get started with quant finance. You don't need proprietary data to build quant finance models. Publicly available data related to different financial assets, stocks or options, commodities, interest rates, macroeconomic variables, data for macroeconomic variables are easily available. So you can simply get hold of these data sets and play around with it, build your model, test your model, backtest some trading strategy, uh, build forecasting model using all kinds of techniques. For macroeconomic data, you can use time series modeling techniques to forecast macroeconomic variables such as inflation, interest rate, GDP, exchange rate, all these things. You can also build models related to lending. For example, you can get some of these publicly available default data set. There are some available on Kaggle, but there are also other sources where you can get some data sets and play around with in building default model, expected loss models. um, and now, getting access to lending data is actually more difficult compared to trading data, because a lot of the trading data is available publicly. So then it's easier compared to that of the lending, where you will never have access to the actual customer informations. The information will always be maxed, right? So that's impossible to get. But some of the banks do share some demo data sets also for research, but they mask the information, they change a lot of the information, they do not share the actual information. It's not the actual data that is used within the bank. So that's proprietary, right? So there are broadly four types of data, okay, used in banking and financial world. The first one is the proprietary data related to the customer, client, to the the loan facility, or to a particular trade, or for a particular trading strategy, for a particular portfolio strategy. A lot of that is proprietary, related to the customers, and those customers are onboarded with you, so you have the data. Even your competitors may not have all those data sets, right? Some of that will be, for instance, income, demographic information about the customer. These data sets are that information is available to all the clients, all the banks, sorry. But for instance, some of the information related to origination. That means, if you ask questions to your clients and you get responses, right? Qualitative information, not quantitative information, but you still can use the data for a variety of purposes, and that's not available to even your customers, right? So that really is proprietary data, and banks do use these proprietary data sets to build models. um, right? So proprietary data could be related to retail customers, could be related to wholesale customers, could be related to other banks, banking financial corporations, governments as well, municipalities, state governments, central governments, international organizations. So it's impossible that you will ever get access to all these kinds of data sets. So don't worry about it. It's not that easy. Nobody ever will expect you as a student to have understanding of these data sets. As a fresher, if you have worked in banks, that's fine. Then people will expect you to have knowledge about these data sets. Um, but if you're a fresher, if you're fresh out of university, you're just trying out in building models using whatever you have learned through different courses or through books, then you don't need to have experience with real world data sets. You will never get access to real world data sets related to these area. For trading stocks and those, there you can have good access to some real world data sets because that's publicly available, right? Then the second type of, and by the way, it's not just the customer data. You can have other data sets, for example, transaction data sets. You will never have access to transaction data sets, right? Only the banks, insurance companies, have. Even many banks don't have access to transaction data sets that customers have got in other banks. So, very important information, but you don't have, you'll never have access to that sort of an information. But the banks do have external rating data, right? You probably won't be able to buy those rating information from S&P, Moody's, and all. A lot of that is not publicly available, but you can buy that. I mean, banks do buy that by paying money. Okay. Um, then collateral valuation data, for example, right? It is impossible for you to get value collateral value data. It's very expensive, right? Banks spend a lot of money to get information from third party macroeconomic data, forecast data. Banks spend a lot of money to get data related to macroeconomic forecasting for stress testing purposes. So that's also something that you will never get access to because it's quite expensive. As a student, I'm saying, if you have experience, then obviously you have access to that in the company that you're working for. Publicly data available is, as I have said, is something that can be used for a variety of things, especially for if you're working related to market risk model development, if you're working in quantitative trading, because mostly it's time series forecasting. And if you have access to macroeconomic indicators, if you have access to stock prices or prices of any of these financial assets, then you can build different models yourself. Right? And a lot of the trading firms even just use the publicly available data, even the big ones. They don't really buy any proprietary data from any third parties. Although things have changed more recently, I think more and more investment is nowadays going into collecting data or buying data from other third parties. Even non-traditional data, and I'm going to talk about that. What is non-traditional data? Okay. There are external data providers, big ones such as the Bloomberg, right? If you have ever worked in finance, it's unlikely that you haven't heard about Bloomberg, right? It's a external data provider. It provides data about companies, the CEO, the executive information, financial details, and whatnot, right? You can get all kinds of amazing informations at just one place, and Bloomberg does that very well. It's very popular, but there are also competitors. Thomson Reuters is its competitor. There are other competitors as well. Very expensive to get a Bloomberg license. Some university do provide license, to their students in MBA finance programs. I have heard in some of the universities in India also they provide Bloomberg license, but not everyone can afford a license to Bloomberg. If you want to just learn on your own, I mean, not everyone can afford it, right? But if you work in big investment firms, you will have access to Bloomberg and other such. It's a nice skill to have, by the way, to be able to extract data from Bloomberg and make sense of it. Okay. And the fourth type of data sets is the alternate data. Okay. It's being used more frequently nowadays. Trading firms are now using a lot of alternate data. Alternate data means data sets which are not directly related to financial assets. Uh, you can't label them as financial information, but you can use these information to make better financial decisions. For example, using satellite data for investment purpose, right? It's been a while actually, where satellite images are scanned to know actually which place um, which place is let's say which real estate is becoming more popular, which which retail companies are getting more footfalls, and that's very unusual way of analyzing data, but people are doing that. In fact, it's been a long time these things have been happening, but not to the extent that it is now, right? Some trading firms in London, what they do is that they use um, I was talking to someone actually, they use the number of coffee cups sold in London to relate to financial performance of some of the companies based out of London, right? So can you imagine? So there may be some causal relationship, right? You need to be careful about whether it's a spurious correlation, whether it is actual some causal relationship or not. But people are trying various other ways. Satellite data is being very much used. Social media data is also used for trading purposes. Sentiment analysis using Twitter data, using YouTube comments and Facebook comments is also quite popular nowadays for trading and investment purpose. Big banks don't use social media data. At least they do not have real case studies. They're trying, they're experimenting, but I don't see much uses of social media data yet by the big banks and insurance companies. They do, however, use satellite data for some of the things. I used to work for a bank that is very much into agricultural lending, and they do use uh, climate data coming from satellites for lending purposes, right? To build models related to lending. Um, so alternate data is becoming very popular nowadays. If you are someone who is exploring projects in quantitative finance, I highly recommend you to do some projects related uh, to time series forecasting using any of these financial asset price or return values. You could also use macroeconomic variables, building portfolio, forecasting returns, optimizing on a portfolio return. What is the best set of financial asset you should keep in a portfolio? So that's portfolio optimization. You could also, and you don't need any proprietary data for that. If on the lending space, actually, it's a bit difficult if you want to build models there, but there are some data sets available on Kaggle, so you can do some searches there. Alternate data, working on alternate data is also easy. You can do Twitter sentiment analysis. I would one of my student did that. He did he did sentiment analysis on tweets by Elon Musk and how that is impacting the crypto prices or some of the cryptocurrencies. You can also build such projects, right? If you want to do that. So these are some of the things I wanted to share with you, the data used in quant model development. If you have questions, if you want to have access to any of these data sets, if you are having problem in getting access to the data sets, let me know. If I can help you in any way, I'll love to. Thanks. See you in another video.